Good evening, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party?
It was an act of civil disobedience that we need to make sure people feel that there is a proper outlet to address what are legitimate concerns around what they view as a genocidal monument that they have to walk to in their democracy.
So first of all, I'm not going to perform for folks. I'm not going to feign sadness. I will not shed a tear over the loss of a statue that honored someone who, of his own admission, sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sex slavery.
I would say those first days, when there were riots, I could smell the burning tires. And that was a very real thing. And I kept the windows open for as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touchstone of what was happening.
It's just a cigarette and it cannot be that bad.
Honey, don't you love me and you know it makes me sad.
It's just a cigarette like you always used to do.
I was different then, I don't need them to be cool. It's just a cigarette and it harms your pretty lungs.
Well, it's only twice a week, so there's not much of a chance.
It's just a cigarette, it'll soon be only 10.
Honey, can you trust me when I want to stop? I can.
Whoa, wait a minute. There, that's better.
And as a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a bitch. Turn that off.
All right, so that's who we have as the VP. We have Kamala Harris running from the Democratic ticket as the president, and we have Tim Walz as the VP. Two of the most leftist candidates in American history. We're talking about all of that and more next.
Enemy territory here.
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and it is time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest and hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co-hosts. Of course, we have T.
Hey.
And Shelly E.
Hi.
Yana is out tonight. She will be back next week. As I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and we certainly support your super chats and donations. That goes a long way in helping us produce conservative content. This is not just a podcast. It's not just a YouTube channel. We are a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand there is a target on our backs because we value freedom. Yet we still stand. Join the movement, stand with us, subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. As you guys saw at the top of the show, that was kind of like a montage, and that wasn't even everything, of Tim Walz. So as we've seen all over the media, Kamala Harris has chosen this leftist governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, as her running mate. As I said, making them the biggest Marxist pairing since Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. I mean, literally. Folks, we don't actually have to say much because both Kamala and Walz go balls to the walls hard in leftist ideology and policy, right from their own mouths, as you saw in the clip at the top of the show. He's literally a male version of AOC. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Well, I had to find something I was trying to be a little fair, but I came up with, I'm calling them the thriller and the killer. Because number one, if they get into office of president, vice president, our country is going to be like a damn thriller show in real life, almost like The Walking Dead. They're going to kill our Constitution. They're going to advocate for killing more innocent babies and people because of the criminals they let out of jail. And ultimately, our country is going to go to hell. It's going to be a real thriller show.
Oh my gosh. T, what are your thoughts on this duo, this pick?
My thoughts are just based on those clips and what I've seen of him, because I looked and see, like, what is it that he's really done that's positive, that, like Shelley said, that we would actually, all right, let me just try to find something. But this is the goofiest pair of president and vice president ever. Someone said that, he's relatable for an old guy. He's only 60, first of all.
He looks old.
He looks so old. And then he's goofy. I can't imagine Russia and China taking us seriously now.
No, yeah. And let's unpack some of his, because he's got a record that we can certainly look to and comment on and see exactly how this country, they want America to become Minneapolis or Minnesota. I mean, he's definitely into DEI. The first thing he did after being elected governor was to institute a statewide diversity, equity, and inclusion program, which he has renewed. Just last week, he defended socialism during his White Dudes for Harris live stream. And we know he presided over Minnesota during the George Floyd riots.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is characteristic of many of these leftist politicians. They destroy, they gut out, they literally gut out. You want to talk about babies being sucked out of the mother's womb, right? They literally destroy anything in their path, anything good, anything decent. And Constitution, U.S. Constitution notwithstanding, it will be overrun. We might as well rip it up like Nancy did the speech when Trump was speaking in the House.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned abortion. I mean, he set historic things for abortion in the state. 5 infants were born alive in 2021 in Minnesota during failed abortions, and none was provided life-saving care, though 2 got comfort care. The Minnesota Department of Health reported. So the funny thing about Minnesota is they actually have a report. They have to report these things to the state agency. So also in 2019, his first year as he was governor, they too perished without life-saving care, according to a July 1st, 2020 report from the same state agency. So this is really rare. and his state has led the way in babies being born alive, and then of course killed, after an abortion.
Right.
I mean, it's sick.
And he's also a black BLM advocate, obviously, for letting the protests ruin his city and his state this way from the George Floyd protests. And he's been the one that's been, black people this, black people that. Here we go again with the race baiting. Yeah. They can't stay away from it.
No. And he's way out of line with most Americans on abortion. I mean, we're all pro-life, but he takes pro-choice to the nth degree. He's really wants abortion up to birth. I mean, so, no more rare and what is it, Shelley? Rare and
safe, rare, legal, and rare.
I mean, he wants abortion up to birth. He just signed an omnibus bill known as SF 2995 that closed one of the few statistical windows on late-term abortions and the possibility that babies born alive were left to die.
Right.
So abortions can be sought for any reason at any time.
Yeah. Minnesota is, I'm going to say weird, not in the sense of weird like the Democrats have been using about us lately. Minnesota has been this odd kind of state, even though they're Midwestern and a lot of the people, they do have some traditional values. That state has some funny voting patterns in history. They can go either way. Maybe more so they're a little bit more left of center, but they have, to me, they've become more and more such an anomaly for the state values that they typically would hold.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're the home of the most ISIS recruits in the United States. It's largely due to the a large amount of immigrants from Somalia. So they have a large Somalia community. I think this is where, what's her name is from, right?
Which one?
The Democrat with the...
the part of the...
Somalia girl, yeah.
Yeah.
Ilhan
Omar. Ilhan Omar is from there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he's driven the state way down. Under his tenure, it's become a war zone. So once heralded as one of the least crime-ridden states in the nation, now violent homicides in Minnesota are up 71%. Carjackings in Minneapolis are up 548%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why pick this guy?
I was just going to ask her, why do y'all think that she chose him?
Well,
he's a teacher,
he was chosen governor too,
and a veteran. Well, they voted for him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. These are the kind of odd things about Minnesota. A lot of the people there have what we would call traditional values, but they seem to put a lot of leftists in office. Keith, the attorney general that prosecuted George Chauvin. Keith Ellison. Mm-hmm. All these leftists seem to come out of Minnesota. I mean, it just doesn't make sense when you think of the general population and the values that they typically hold there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this guy is bad news. I mean, it's good on the one sense because, Trump probably, he's not going to get as many independents as, the guy from Pennsylvania, the governor that was on the short list. But it's bad news if they actually get elected. Mm-hmm. I mean, this will transform our country like no other.
I can't imagine the executive orders they're going to sign on day one. Oh! Those two together.
Oh,
you know, Roe versus Wade is going to be.
Oh my God.
That's going to be the first thing on there.
And not only that, but the guy is like, he could be a plant. I mean, he's got a huge hard-on for China. He spent his honeymoon there in China. He's worked and lived there for many years. He said some really crazy statements about China and it's been praising the country, praising the leadership there. It's really bizarre.
Look, Marxists, like Liana would say, Marxists, communists, what do they love? They want more Marxism and communism. China is the epitome country, if you will, particularly in modern times, of Marxism and communism. This is their wet dream.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've talked about that, right? And we've talked about that. Speaking of the communism, he's pushing to eliminate fossil fuels and gas-powered cars from Minnesota with a goal of being carbon neutral by 2050. So with EVs mostly required by 2035 under a California-style tailpipe emission rule and electricity to be carbon-free by 2040. So we know, we've said this on the show before, that the idea that the left wants to take our cars. They want to take our freedom. What's the biggest thing you get when you're 16? You want your freedom. You get to go where you want to go. Gas, you put your gas in. They want to track us with these electric cars, and they want to get rid of gas so they can do it.
They want to track your clothes, how much electricity you use, even more so than now. They want your cars. They want to know what's in your refrigerator. They want to know who you're talking to. They already know that because their cell phones are pretty much, always transmitting. These people want the United States to be something totally different. They want the communist or socialist country, I would say communist country of the United States of America.
They want control over your everything.
Absolutely.
They want to be able to get into your minds and use you as puppets. And this is very dangerous for our children, for our future generations, for us here now. I mean, I can imagine after this, if they were to win, I can't imagine what the world looked like after this.
No, neither can I.
I want to escape.
Right.
Beam me up, Scott.
Well, one thing we know is you can look at the UK, and that takes us to our next topic. I mean, the unrest in the UK that has been going on over the last couple of weeks has been crazy. Take a look at this. This is clip number 2.
Individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
So, protests and riots broke out across the UK after a 17-year-old who some falsely believed was Muslim, was a Muslim immigrant, stabbed 3 young girls. Since then, the media and leftist government have pounced, declaring the riots a display of far-right extremism and racism.
Of course.
The UK's new prime minister, that was him, vowed to arrest those involved and also hinted at that he's blamed independent journalist Tommy Robinson for stoking violence. So, I mean, this thing has gone way out of control. Take a look at this. This is clip number 2. I'm sorry, clip number 3.
Okay, leave him. Take him out. You're fucking racist, man. It's all right. You're racist. Done. Okay. Smash the fucking Muslim, man. I'm that peaceful, you white hood.
Fuck you, Malaga.
So it's become kind of like a race riot. That was showing a clip of Muslim Brits attacking that white guy. So what are your thoughts on this, Shelley?
My thoughts are that Sharia law, by and large, for all intents and purposes, has come to the UK. And over the last decade or so, they have had a surge, an influx of Muslim immigrants, mostly young men, single, no children, with no purpose except to bring in Sharia law. And literally, I'm saying, to usher in terrorism in the United Kingdom.
What are your thoughts there, T?
God help us all. Like, all over. I mentioned earlier that take me somewhere else, but I don't know. Like, this whole world is going to be seeing the effects of what happens for this presidential election here. And it's sad because we won't have anywhere to run to.
Yeah.
Because the whole world is going to be screwed up.
Yeah. And Elon Musk has been accused of fanning the flames of unrest as he shared a video of a group of Asian men gathered around a pub in Birmingham with the caption, "Why aren't all communities protected in Britain?" So this was on yesterday. He tagged UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer in the post after the Labour leader condemned actions against groups based on their race and religion and called for mosques to be protected. Musk's comments come as part of an ongoing series of tweets to his 193 million followers as he suggested that civil war is inevitable, as you mentioned, Shelley. So critics have called for Musk to be banned from entering the UK and said Britain banned Snoop Dogg, Chris Brown, Ja Rule, and Michael Savage for a lot less than inciting race riots and winking towards a civil war in our country. This is what Keir Starmer said.
So, in other words, it's okay for them to riot and beat and maim and terrorize people, but if someone calls it out, that's the bigger problem.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But I mean, I think you really hit on something. I was reading an article today from the Free Press, and so it was an article written by Nadhim Zahawi. He is a brown man.
Just say that.
Nadhim Zahawi. He's a brown man. He was
brown. What's that?
Well, that's what he described himself as.
Yeah.
He's a brown man born in a Muslim country. He lives in the UK now, and he said, "But too many from outside these shores refuse to integrate upon arrival, to learn the language and to learn the ways of this place. They or their communities refuse to allow themselves to feel what Roger Scruton called ocophilia, a love of home. The British and other English-speaking peoples are wont to look at things in our homescape as we look at persons not as means only, but as ends in themselves." So he's basically, he's saying that what's going on is, you have this mass migration into the UK. These people are not assimilating, nor are the powers that be pushing for assimilation, pushing for love of the country. And then they have these race wars.
Sounds like a country I know.
Yeah, sounds very familiar, actually.
A country I know.
And it's all going to happen at the same time, and it's going to bubble up, and then here we have World War III.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all by design. And we've talked about this before. Part of the Marxist plan, one of their goals for, they have a list of goals pushed, I believe, in 1943, 45 communist goals. And one of them is globalism. It's this idea that, I had one of them here, to capture one or both political parties and to push these globalist ideas. And so that's what we're seeing happen, I feel,
real time.
Across the Western world. They want globalism. They want open borders. They want us all globalists to push one world order.
One world, no nation states, no nationalism, no allegiance to your own country. They want you to pledge allegiance, if at all, to whatever this nebulous body is over in, I guess I'm going to say Davos, Switzerland, or wherever, or in Belgium somewhere in Europe. But ultimately, Americans, my question for you, all of our audience members, what are you going to do? Because we are the only ones, we the people are the only ones that will be able to stand in the way of stopping this mess coming to America, or at least taking any more foothold than it already has, and reversing whatever we had right now.
Well, they have a growing number of supporters because they're doing a really good job of brainwashing and manipulating people into believing that, oh, it's not communism. It's you just, Republicans and conservatives, they just don't know. They just want to go back to 1960s. They need to get up on times. They're doing a good job of making them anti-government. Well, not even anti-government. It's anti-people, pro-government.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they've taken over the media. They've taken over the culture. They've taken over entertainment and movies. And we're all force-fed this one narrative many times. And when you try to speak against it or have an opposing viewpoint, we see that they try to censor or remove us. And this is exactly what Walz did in Minnesota during COVID. I want to talk about something he said, actually. Take a look at this. This is clip number 6.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yeah. So
what?
Yeah, he is against.
Where has he been?
That was him sparked controversy by suggesting there is no guarantee to free speech or misinformation or hate speech. particularly concerning democracy, is what he said. This is the next thing. They're pushing against the First Amendment.
So this is interesting. When I heard that, first of all, I totally, absolutely disagree with him wholeheartedly, if I can say it any more fervently. Number one. Number two, it's interesting how he just, put in the word democracy there. Mm-hmm. So they always put this word democracy in the context of what they're saying. It is the total opposite of what they're advocating for. This is the sleight of hand that these people play. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law. There's no such thing technically as hate speech for Congress to legislate, okay? No, you can't go into a theater and yell fire. We get all of that, right? You cannot legally threaten someone if you have no grounds for self-defense. Those things are fine, but free speech, Congress cannot regulate that. Misinformation, who gets to say what misinformation is? Who gets to say that? You are free to give misinformation, disinformation. You are free to even lie under the First Amendment. Congress cannot regulate that. Now, if you're in a court of law and you say, I'm going to take an oath to tell the truth, that's something different. But outside of that, you are free to say what the hell you want.
And it's very convenient. The lies and the misinformation is very convenient because they love to spread the lies and maneuver and manipulate the truth or manipulate the facts. But once we stand up with facts, like, hey, this is not what happened, this is actually what's going on, then we're being censored or we're being shunned or whatever.
Right. They want to be arbiters of the truth. That's what they want to do. They want to be in control. They're authoritarians. I mean, this guy is really bad news. I mean, he did the same thing during the COVID lockdowns. He extended an emergency stay-at-home order, which lasted through mid-May in 2020, prompting President Trump at the time to declare liberate Minnesota. I mean, he was so bad. He had mask mandates for indoors. Well, this guy, Walz.
We had him here. I mean,
he
had him a lot of places.
They did. He also set up a hotline through law enforcement that received more than 10,000 emails for people to snitch on their neighbors that did not comply.
Right.
This guy is major commie authoritarian, guys.
And keep in mind, if these people take away your speech right, which not only is it the First Amendment of the Constitution, the foundation, but if they take away your speech right, ultimately, this is thought control. If you're not able to express whatever the hell you're thinking, no one has to like it, no one has to agree with it. You're entitled to speak and think whatever you choose. But when they come for your speech, ultimately, they're trying to come for your thoughts.
Oh yeah.
And don't say we didn't tell y'all so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this guy is, so it's no shock that he is now saying get rid of the First Amendment. We don't have any rights within that amendment because you can see what he did in 2020.
I have to say this. Interestingly enough, these leftists are advocating for that. There was a new Fire poll that came out a couple of days ago, and it's Americans, more than half of Americans, about 53%, say that they believe that we have too many rights under the First Amendment. This is America. Americans are saying this. I didn't look at all the different breakdowns of the age groups, but the general conclusion of that particular poll and study, 52% of Americans say that our First Amendment basically gives us too many rights.
Well, Americans are dumb anyway. Most of the Americans, they can't even tell you what the amendments are. They can't even tell you what our rights are.
I am starting to think, when this country was first founded, it was founded by people who dared to they pushed boundaries, they pushed the envelope, they were creatives, they were innovators. Mm-hmm. You couldn't push these people around. Now we are surrounded by cowards, right, and
idiots.
Yes. Yeah. And I hate to say it, this moves us to our next topic, Black women. We have seen, and again, the left speaks in identity politics, and we try not to, but we have to address Black women. Beyonce has just come out. There are rumors that she is going to, for the first time, she's going to endorse a candidate for president. It looks like she's going to endorse Kamala, of course.
Yeah.
And then we have, Black women are leading the charge, for Kamala Harris. And, you know, it's like everything else be damned. You have black women leading communities. You know, most black families are led by black women, single black mothers. And so I asked the question, are they leading us down a path of terror and just bad stuff, negativity?
I think
disaster.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Well, I mean, I want to say
and
that
I'm not saying when I say black women, I'm saying in general. You
yeah.
know, now I know not all black women are doing this.
Right.
But
in general, I think black women are leading the country right now. Because it's damn sure not Joe Biden. Because where has he been?
Right. Right. And I want to talk about this. So in order to kind of give you guys a little bit of context, I sent this clip that we're about to show you to a family member. And I want to show you what she responded to. But first, take a look. This is clip number 5.
Y'all bitches talking about B is for bi. You can shout it out loud. I like more than one gender, and that makes me proud. B, boys shall be boys and do boy things. B, for bring me that motherfucking notebook and let me see your motherfucking ABCs. B, be motherfucking quiet and sit your ass down and stay in a kid's motherfucking place. If these the kind of books they gonna be reading to my motherfucking son in school, I might as well just teach him from home. Cause it ain't no way in hell y'all really think that this fuck shit is okay. B is for basketball, bounce, books, behavior, be careful, shit like that. Not no motherfucking bisexual for no little boy. These motherfuckers can barely read, even brush their motherfucking teeth. But you got them reading a book about being motherfucking bisexual. These babies can't even chew up a motherfucking steak properly, but y'all teaching them how to take a dick and suck an ass. That shit is crazy, gang. Y'all gotta do better and leave our motherfucking kids alone. B, for bring our children back.
From the gay guy's mouth.
Yeah.
I love
to
it.
our ears.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, he told the truth there.
He did.
He did.
Yeah, remember a couple years ago, we had some books from the library that we talked about with these kind of topics for children in there. But he was absolutely correct. Look, you just mentioned something about black women, in particular, large numbers of them, particularly on the Democrat side, let's say that, being sheeple. It dawned on me that when Jesus went after the one sheep and left the 99, you know why I think he did it? I think he did it because he already knew the 99 would conform to whomever. Let me go after this one. I got a chance with this one. That's what I really think. It wasn't, I mean, it was about saving souls. I get the parable. But it was like, you know what? Them sheep, y'all go ahead and keep being sheep. I'm going to go after this one. I got a chance with this one right here. That's what I think Jesus said.
But what I want to talk about is it worth it? I mean, again, black women are leading the Democrat Party. They're following behind Kamala Harris blindly. And take a look at this.
I don't think they're blind.
Well, look at this. So I sent that video to a friend because she has young kids, and I wanted to show her, she's a new mom, that this is what are some of the books that are out there that they're showing or giving young kids in lower school and in kindergarten, things like that. So all I did was send her that video, and take a look at what she responded to. This is photo number 1. She says, "Oh goodness, please don't send me stuff like this. I come on Instagram for positivity only." Then she says, "I'm voting for Kamala. Nothing will change my mind, so no need to try." And as you can see, I responded, I said, the post didn't mention Kamala Harris. I sent it to show the books they are trying to push on kids, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this, again, I didn't mention Kamala Harris. This is a young lady that's supposed to be a Bible-believing Christian, okay? And that is her response. She's voting for Kamala no matter what. And I get that from a lot of black women.
That's because they still are very, very, they have this PTSD or whatever it is from their slaving, their oppression that they want to have, this victimhood. They want to feel like, oh, finally we've got something. Finally, we're able to do something as Black women, not realizing, like the man say, you need to be back in the kitchen and be back home raising your children. That's what you can be doing. But no, you want to be the president and you're going to fuck up the whole world because you have issues, mental issues.
I don't think I have started a couple years ago, and more, I don't think it's that they're stupid or foolish or whatever the word is anymore. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, I don't think they understand the consequences because they think they're voting for themselves in their best interest. But I think they are doing what they're doing because this is what they actually believe is good for them.
Yeah, they do.
They do. So it's hard to say that they're just stupid. I mean, I've said that, and I think they are, don't get me wrong, but they are doing it calculated because this is in their best interest to get the women's, whatever, power and clout and Kamala Harris or whatever. Like you said, they see themselves in this position of, oh, she's doing it for us, and it reflects back on me or the Black woman, and that means we have ours. We got ours.
And clearly,
let me ask you this though, because you know, I'm talking about these women who claim to be Bible-believing Christians who don't agree with pushing LGBT on kids, you know, don't agree with the open borders. At least that's what they say. This is Kamala Harris's number one priority. She is not hiding it. All they talk about is abortion and LGBT. And so you have these Black women who say, I don't agree with that, but yet they say, I'm voting for her no matter what. Where's the disconnect?
They're blinded. They're blinded by identity politics. Right. They're blinded by the fact that she's a Black woman. They're blinded by the fact that she's an AKA and she went to HBCU, not realizing that doesn't make you Black. And that doesn't mean all skin folk, like they want to say, all skin folk ain't kin folk. That doesn't mean that she's going to do what you need to do in your best interest. It's just representation to say, oh, we have a Black woman in as a president. That's it.
That's all it says. No, you're right. That is all it says. But it ultimately goes back, and I would just say all of us in the country in general, how obsessed we are with quote unquote race. First of all, there's only one race, the human race, okay? Which is why I call myself a human American. But anyway, nevertheless, there's only one race. There's only a human race. There are ethnicities. There are different skin colors or whatever. But we are so obsessed with, oh, your skin is this color and your skin is this color and this one. It's an obsession. It is, if you want to call it delusion, it is ultimately anti-human. Because that means you are categorizing people only based on the way they look. That's the lowest level of human dignity or treatment that you can have.
Oh, they don't care about humans. They care more about dogs. Even Black women now, they care more about dogs and pets than they do humans. Because I've heard a few Black people say that if they can just go in a box or go in a house with their cats and their dogs and not have to ever deal with humans, they would love that. But that's another subject.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, then the Black community is doomed. Because
it's been that.
Yeah, because when you think about it, you know, the black families are predominantly raised by single mothers, by women. You know, we are seeing an awakening within men, Black men. Yeah,
finally, thank you, Black men. Yes,
they don't lead most of these families.
They don't have the jobs. Black women, and as we're going to see, if this woman becomes president, there's a lot of Black women who are entrepreneurs, who are CEOs and all this, but they don't make the room for the Black men. You're right. The Black men aren't leaving the households. They're not leading positions. They're not leading. So Black men need to.
Women are leading.
That's exactly. So now I want to see the Black men step up and not vote for Kamala Harris. But I will say that President Trump needs to step up his policies. Like, more people are saying, well, what is Trump going to do about it? He's not being very clear on his
the media is running cover for her. She has not one policy.
She hasn't.
One policy on her page has she talked about. All she does is hackles and cackles and
true.
You know, whatever she does, unburden word and all of her whatever foolishness.
Parable.
Trump's policies are there. The media is running cover for her. That should be a clue. Like, they're not even asking her questions. I mean, what is she talking about except for cackling?
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have to, because you heard what the lady said. My friend said, I'm voting for Kamala no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's not a one-off. This is
not.
what most black women believe. They do not care about policy. They do not care about the way they're living, the whole sexualization of children. They don't care. It's Kamala or bust.
And they don't care about the country, because someone pointed out that for the Kamala rallies, there are no American flags in the background. There's only her name. There are no American flags, and the people that are in the rally, they all have her signs. No American flags. So it's definitely not. They don't care about the country.
No, they don't. Oh no. No,
or the people in it.
The only thing it seems to me that they care about is Kamala is black
and she's a woman.
That's it. And they're going to vote for her just because of that.
And then they want to say it's not DEI hire.
No, it's not.
It's definitely a DEI hire.
This is why it's so important to me, at least in my opinion, that the right Republicans get off of these identity politics, because that is not the cure. It's not going to help if Trump goes out and says, I'm doing this for the black community. I'm doing this for the Hispanic community, thing like that. What are you doing to make America
great
better
again?
Across the board, because feeding into the identity politics,
it's gonna make it worse.
It
just keeps that cycle going back and forth.
Right? They're not going to vote for him anyway, based off of that.
Exactly, and they're going to use it. They're going to always, position it as if he is racist. They're going to find that angle. But this is what I'm going to start asking black women who are so in love with Kamala. Well, if she's such for the sisterhood, why didn't she pick a black woman to run with her?
Yeah.
I mean, she want to elevate black women up. Why not? Why she pick a white man?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but for the bottom line is, and it's not so much. It's black Americans.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying.
It's black Americans. You don't find this, or at least I don't see it in the Hispanic community. When I talk to Latinos, they're talking about, they don't want these illegal immigration either.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And number two, they want to know, how can I get at least amount of taxes to run my businesses?
Exactly.
Yes.
The entrepreneurship, things like that. So it really is sad.
They're not even talking about the economy. No. They're just talking about her being a black woman. Like, what about all the important things?
She's not given one interview. She's gone to the rallies. She's not. The media hasn't asked her questions. All of these, white dudes and black dudes and black women, all these, raising all this money. Okay, I do think she's on a little honeymoon period, because she just announced or whatever, right?
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon, where she's gaining in the rate, gaining right
euphoria,
now.
so to speak.
Right now, I think she is. I think it's going to come down. But the Republicans outside Trump, we need to be focused. We need to be serious. And I don't care. Come at them hard with policy. Challenge her. Go to that debate. I don't know if she's going to show up. She said she's not. I think, right?
I wouldn't go to that debate. I like that he has decided.
I'm telling you, have a debate.
A different one.
Yeah,
right.
whatever. Have a debate. I'm saying yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't go to that. But I mean, guys, I want to hear from you all, in the comments here. I mean, what do you think on this idea of black women? I mean, again, they continue to push this narrative of it's Kamala no matter what. I don't care what she says. I don't care what she doesn't say. I don't care what she does. It's Kamala because she's black and because she's a female. And this is detrimental. It's not good. It's very destructive. I know we have some super chatters here. Let me acknowledge you guys. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia.
She says, Trump has some strong black women speaking out at rallies. There's hope. Beyonce can go away and shut it. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
They love their Beyonce.
All right.
Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you. Says, love you, ladies. Keep doing you. I'm a big fan.
All right. Let's go, Kevin.
All right, Love USA says Tim Walz wants gender affirmation for children without parents' permission. You want that to happen to your kids? That is completely insane. Trump vants for common sense, secure border, and prosperity. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're dumbing everyone down. I think I sent you all today. In California, they've changed the grading scale. And it's making, what is it, like an A? You can
you can
still
like 80%.
You can still have a 64 and it'll be a B. From 84 to 100, it's an A, and from B is 64 to 84. Like these children, this is why when you said earlier that the children or everyone is saying that what'd you say? Everyone is saying that they don't want to have the rights. We have too many rights.
Yeah,
it's because they're dumb.
Are saying that. Americans are saying that.
Americans are dumb though.
Yeah. This is why we have to build our own communities. We have to build our own communities and form circles and groups and things amongst ourselves, because you no longer can gravitate to someone based on where you live or based on, skin color and things like that, because people they're not on the same wavelength.
But what you want to build some bunkers, contact me, please.
But what you should do, though, because I've been doing this, is actually talking to people. Yeah. Because if you actually talk to people, not on social media where they can write anything, like get in their faces and talk to them. And then, because they're different when you talk to them in their face. They can say anything on the internet. But once you get in their face and compare facts, then we'll win every time.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and it works like that for people who are open to a discussion, and not already in their bunkers. Right. Yeah. But most of the people I talk to, again, we're here in Baltimore, Maryland. They're not moving.
Baltimore is
it's a large population of black people.
It's a large population of black people. But I mean, like T said, I love talking to people one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, as much as I might talk here, I don't just go out in the street and, I mean, I will wear my gear and stuff like that. I'm not afraid to do all of that. But generally speaking, people will come to me and ask me some question. And then that opens up a conversation, and then you kind of probe and back and forth a little bit. So, I mean, I think you're right about that. When you can talk to people, I call it in real life, in real time with real people, I think that you have your best chance to have those conversations and maybe move the needle one way or the other.
Because we have to, then we're easily to separate the facts from whatever they're saying now, because they're like, Trump, he wants to change the government. He wants it to be a dictatorship. How is that even possible? Constitutionally, how is that even possible? In your face. But you can say anything on the internet.
Unless you pack the court, which is what Democrats want to do. They want to change.
They're the ones that want.
Right. So, I mean, this stuff is crazy. Speaking of that, it takes us to what's going on right here in Maryland. Parents are losing their parental rights. They are losing it because of failing to affirm a kid for transgenderism. And take a look here. This is clip number 8. This is so sad.
I'm a super chatter.
Oh, do we have that clip?
Yeah. We have clip number 8 coming. All right, well, let's keep on going.
We have a super chatter, too.
I do want to acknowledge our super chatter here. All right, so let's see here. We do have a super chatter. Kenzie14 says,
Kenzie14.
It was great to see JD roll up on Kamala today.
Oh, really?
It's time we bring the fight to the Dems because the media won't hold them accountable. No. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Old man, what's up, old man?
Old man.
Says, as an old white guy, when I look at you three, I truly see 3 brilliant and beautiful, strong women, and I hope for the future.
Thank you so much, old man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So did we have clip number 8?
No, I think we don't. So so basically, what's going on is from PG County, a military family who lost custody of their autistic son after they refused to transition his gender are suing a major D.C. hospital. The family said their boy had never shown any desire to become a girl until at 16 he was hospitalized for self-harming after a bitter breakup with his girlfriend in 2021. Staff at the Children's National Hospital informed the family that he wanted to be female and should be referred to using she/her pronouns going forward, the suit claims. So his Army veteran parents from PG County, that's what Prince George's PG County in Maryland, rejected the suggestion, saying their son was impressionable due to being autistic. This is actually a black family. They have accused the hospital of starting a full-on campaign to transgender this child. According to the lawsuit, hospital used its emergency policies to keep the boy in its units and reported the parents to Child Protection Services. Guys, they took this boy from their parents and put him in a home.
This is not.
It's not new. We talked about this a couple months ago. There were a couple of cases out west. I think Montana. I think there was a case in California. Maybe I think New York City. This is not new. We've been saying this is going to happen more and more. The government, and by way of CPS, by way of these bureaucratic policies that institutions can make on their own and then say that they are abiding by their own policies. Look, ultimately, this is what gets me upset because many people, even on my side, talk about follow the law, follow the law. My question is, well, when the hell is it time to break the law? When is a good time to break the law? How about when it comes to children being taken from their parents for absolutely zero reason? No credible reason except that the parents disagree with whatever these fake fucking policies are that are created out of whole cloth. When are we going to stand up? When is the time to break the damn law? All laws are not good laws. All laws should not be followed. Certainly when it comes to children being what I'm calling pimped out by the government because their parents don't want them to be taught or told that they're the opposite sex. This is bull crap. You see this flag? You see these rights that the Americans want to give up? They are coming for our children right here in PG County.
Yeah, PG County, Maryland, right here. And guess what? So it turns out the woman that took the child was some worker in the hospital who's actually trans.
Chaplain, right?
Yeah, chaplain in the hospital goes by non-binary. I'm sorry. She is the one who has this child now in foster care, and has taken this child from the parents. So the lawsuit says the child is currently living with the hospital's non-gendered chaplain named Lavender Kelly, who regularly posts online about trans issues. They can't have kids of their own, so they want ours.
So look,
kidnapping.
All these black people that are saying, oh, we need black this and black that, where your black asses at now? When we got these autistic children, first of all, I'm sure the family has this boy's best or whatever it is, best interest at heart. So of course we're not gonna want to give it to the foster system. These are veterans, right? Military family. So where y'all black asses at now?
They took the boy. They
sanctioned kidnapping.
But this is what they're finding as they do more and more research on this, that many people who identify as trans are on the autism scale.
Because they not right in the mind.
But this 4-year-old boy didn't. He didn't express any kind of a gender, whatever you call it, gender affirmation.
He was autistic.
He's autistic, but he never even expressed.
No.
It's facilitated, sanctioned kidnapping. They're using the laws, and not only are they using these hospitals, whatever, or whatever other organizations, our government is helping them do it.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. The same government that y'all are so afraid that President Trump is going to change and it's going to be a dictatorship and they're going to take away democracy. This is the same government that y'all talking about.
So what laws are we supposed to follow? I mean, just because the government comes up with a law or policy, we're supposed to just, be like the 99 sheep and fall in line and follow it, or we're never supposed to be questioning it. Maybe we should leave like the number one and go and just say F the law and do, I don't know. I mean, it's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating because I'm not even a family. I can't imagine what they're going through. But this 4-year-old has literally been kidnapped.
16.
Has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
And all this money y'all giving to Kamala and white men for Kamala and black men for Kamala and all this, y'all need to be giving to the mental health institutes because this is where y'all need to be.
Well, you can't. I mean, somebody who has autism, and it depends on what part of the scale they have they have social skill issues. It's a social skills thing, and so that's why they're saying that many of them are identifying as trans because of their social skills issues. You know, they want to identify as, you know, something, you know, and the trans people are pulling, you know, trying to really push over the, yeah.
This another thing that came to mind. Oh, remember a few years ago, you're supposed to follow the experts. So when you have experts saying that these kids are trans or whatever, then which expert are you supposed to follow? I mean, this is so ludicrous. I mean, my heart breaks for that family, this child who, again, from what I've read, didn't express any kind of gender dysphoria or whatever.
Until he went to the hospital.
Now, can you imagine, with his autism, can you imagine the literal trauma that he's going to experience on top of his autism? I mean, this is just
the groomers.
They groomed him in that hospital because before. That's why the parents are like.
They say he started talking.
Yeah, he started talking about being trans in the hospital because they showed them videos. They showed him all these, him these books, and now don't you feel like you're going to be a girl?
This is why I've told people at 16 in most states, children can have an exam without the parent in the room, right? This is why it's important, number one, for you to teach your child before they're 16, okay, number one. Number two, you can still tell your child, I did told mine, I don't give a damn how old you are, I'm going in the room with you, okay? Whatever, it wasn't even a question, do you want me to? I'm going, number one, I'm paying insurance, so that's bottom line.
That's true.
I mean, but they can legally have a 16-year-old in the room and they can say whatever they want. I remember telling my daughter for one of her checkups when she turned 16 or whatever, and I said, well, you know, they're going to start asking you certain questions, right? You know, well, if you identify as whatever. So I told her, I said, if your doctor, who's been her pediatrician for years, if your doctor asks you, well, what do you identify as? I want you to say to him, well, hell, you should know. You've been examining me for all these years. I mean, if you don't know, what the hell? And I told you to say that, exactly say that. He didn't ask her that, right? He didn't ask her that. I think he's a good doctor. He didn't ask her that. But before we left that visit, I told her to tell him what we was going to say. He fell out laughing. He said, that's a good one. He said, I believe you, she would have said that too. I said, absolutely.
Yeah. My children better not even try me. Like, our children have sense. That's the thing. I mean, not to say, I can't say that because the child is autistic in this case, but it's a lot going on in society that makes them think that they might even be gay or you know, whatever.
The social influence.
Contagion.
Exactly.
It's social contagion now. I mean,
and that's sad.
It's clearly social contagion now. The increase in teenagers that identify as, you know,
Alphabet.
trans, non-binary, and things, it doesn't even make sense with the increase. You know it's social contagion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've shared the story with you all about my son. He's 16, and we were talking about the alphabet letters, and they know how I feel about it. And they were like, well, my son said, well, I can't even really find a girl to date at school because they're all saying they're gay.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So, you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to that family.
We should get in touch with them since they're local.
Yeah, we love to get in touch with them and have them on the show and talk about what they've gone through. I could not imagine something like that happening. I mean, it's just
I don't know the way my temper is set up. Somebody's building got blown up or something.
Oh, of course, yes.
Oh, my bad.
That was way different.
I know.
Oh yeah, you say the worst thing.
I did.
All right, so we're moving right along. So in other news out this week, President Trump was on a streaming broadcast. I believe the guy's name was Adnan. He's like a big streamer. He was on there, like he had the largest broadcast of any of all. Like, I forget his name, Adnan something. And so, of course, Kamala Harris reached out to another streamer named Cenat, who also has huge Adnan Ross, right? He was on there. It was really good. I watched the episode. But Kamala Harris also reached out to a young streamer, to get on his show. His name is Cenat. He has a large following. And take a look at what he said about her reaching out. This is clip number 6. I'm sorry.
I think we need to push back.
Seven,
sorry. Clip number 7.
Be in a penthouse in New York. Then on top of that, I got the fucking Secret Service calling me 5 times, nigga! I don't know goddamn shit about politics, my nigga. I don't know nothing. I got Hey, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Listen, I had a bad bitch that I've been trying to get on for like the last 3 years, the last 2 years that I haven't spoke to in like a year. I haven't spoke to this girl in so goddamn long who gonna have the audacity to text me, we need you a part of the campaign. At first I was thinking she was talking about like a game, a video game, like a Modern Warfare game, or some shit. Or if not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details. Say it right now. If there's some way, somehow, something was to go into where I do the stream of politics, I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm going to sit on my stream and say, why did you guys call me? Like, you know, I don't know. I've never did anything with politics. And these blogs are like trying to say, yo, you gotta do this shit, God. And it's all the top blogs. And I'm like, bro, since when did niggas?
Alright, so that was him. Believe it or not, this guy's like a huge streamer, huge YouTuber. I mean, he's one of like top 10.
He's
huge.
He had a what do you call it? A reality show, whatever, of him and his friends in jail for like 2 months. And they had people come and visit them in the jail. It was a whole, like, he's huge.
Yeah, he's huge. And apparently Kamala Harris's campaign is reaching out to him to try to get on. And it's just a mess. This woman is just so reckless.
I can commiserate with where he was that I don't know what he was doing when he was upset, because that's probably how I would feel if she got elected, right? But I was like, first of all, he's good and crazy. I've never seen him. What's his name?
Cenat.
Oh my,
Cenat, yeah.
But the point, what I thought was interesting is that he said her campaign is reaching out to him. Notice her campaign is reaching out to these celebrities. Now I get it. Celebrities have opened up and sang whatever for politicians before, but that seems to be all that her campaign is going after. The Meg Thee Stallions and whomever. This
people
guy
who don't know anything.
Exactly.
The people who can't ask tough questions, or they think they
won't even ask.
Right.
Yes.
They can't challenge her. They're just going to get on there and say.
And try to relate and be so relatable to them, to the black people.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible. Yeah. She has been avoiding interviews with mainstream news, with people who can actually ask questions, who can actually speak to her record and things like that. She's trying to get Cenat, who's hiding in a U-Haul truck. Why is he hiding in a truck? Because he doesn't want people to find him.
No, his thing was apparently blown up.
It's
a part of his thing. Well, I mean, to be fair, he did say it was blogs and some fine girl or baddie or whatever is reaching out to him. But he did say Secret Service, but why would Secret Service reach out to people? That's not how it works.
Because they calling him to make connections to book him for something.
Right. I believe it. I believe it. He had no reason.
No, I'm not saying he's not lying, but yeah, I believe it.
I mean, this woman is pitiful, and this is who is supposed to be the United States president. If she can't take tough questions from Brett Baer or, Jake Tapper or whoever, how is she going to talk to Putin? How is she going to talk to heads of states?
And she's a copycat, because it's only happening because President Trump was on Aiden Ross's thing. And I've noticed that that's what they're doing. The moves that, even when it comes to, they just gave $2.5 billion, 20 billion to the farmers, so the black farmers. And this is only after President Trump said that he was going to give money to the farmers. So they're waiting on him to do stuff so they can try to up on him with black people.
Right. And the crazy thing about it is, at least with Trump, he was on a blogger's, simulcast, adding on Ross.
Right.
On
And
Ross.
that's
But
okay.
he also takes the tough interviews too.
Yeah. He was at National Association for
ABC,
Black Journalists last week.
What is she going to say? I mean, she's not going to do it. The media is going to keep running cover for her. And I'm going to use the media acronym that Marge Saray uses. Media, the most effective devil in America. That's what his acronym media stands for. But what is she going to ask or answer? She cannot think. She I mean, it's almost like she's an airhead. And I hate to say that because, I mean, I know she's quote unquote educated. She
Doesn't matter.
I know.
That's just learning how to take tests.
What is she going to do? I mean, she's just going to keep running cover. The media are not going to challenge her by and large. The ones that will, she's going to ignore. If you go after her, they're going to say, "Oh, you're racist, or you don't, you're misogynist and sexist."
Oh, you don't black women. How can
this is going to be a shit show if they get in office.
Well, it's on us. You know, if not enough people are willing to ask for better, to demand more, if they're willing to elect a woman who slept her way to the top, who laughed her way to the presidency, who got in because of her gender and because of her color.
Not because of votes.
Right. If they're willing to accept that, then they get what they deserve.
But they are willing to accept that.
That's what she does.
That's what's going on right now. It's up to us to do our job. And this is what a campaign, and this is what politics is supposed to be about. And we're getting lost in identity politics, and we're getting lost in really doing what they're doing and we're on the defense. We're on the defense too much, and we need to be on the offense and setting these milestones and setting the example of this is where politics is supposed to be. We want to debate you on facts. We want to debate you on policy, not because of she's a black woman. That's what they're going to end up with. And they're going to end up looking foolish because they want to debate on identity politics.
Yeah. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. All right, let's see. We have LAPD.
Thank you.
SWAT. What do you think of the comments by Senator Jamie Raskin? Have you ever had one-on-one talks with women?
Yes.
Are they loony as they seem?
Many of them are, yes.
And he's speaking about Jamie. Oh, you know what? We were supposed to talk about that, actually.
He made the comments about...
yeah, he did. He made a comments about Trump. So he's saying if Trump is elected, he wants to have him disqualified.
Yeah, and the Republicans for Harris. That's all that committee. That's what they started too. But he
Right.
call it that, yes.
Yeah. So that's what he's speaking of. I mean, we have to worry about that too. I mean, if we don't win at least one of the houses plus the presidency, they may do everything they can to remove Trump if he is elected.
They're going to pass some kind of law. They're going to pack the Supreme Court. They're going to hope that some of the justices retire. So this is all by design, like you said, it's planned. It's just their part and parcel of them continuing to scheme and change our country into something it was never intended to be.
They have a strategy. We don't.
Yeah,
we need to be prepared for whatever, because they're telling us what they're showing us what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
We just need to be prepared for it.
And it's tough. I mean, I know we get on here a lot and we talk about, people are sheep and
they are,
things like that. But when you do think about it, I mean, we all we research, we look into these issues and things like that. Many people do not.
Right.
And so it is an uphill battle. They are pushing back against a large cabal. The media, culture, entertainment, all saying one thing. Yeah. And so in order to actually find truth, find facts and things, you really have to dig.
You do.
More than ever.
You got to be the one sheep and go the opposite way. I'm serious.
But I mean, most people are going to go, they said this on CNN or they said this on ABC. And they just go along with it. Oh, my family all are saying this. And so it is tough to actually push against it and say, I want to look in deeper. I want to think, what's going on. I want to find, and that's what we find. I mean, we have a whole city here. When we had Republicans run for office here in Baltimore, and the local media won't even put them on to debate the issues. They can't even get on local media stations.
Nope.
I mean, if you have that and then you have local media stations only pushing one narrative, it is
That's
very
here in
difficult.
Baltimore. It is everywhere. It's pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's why we need the independent media. Independent media.
That's why it's so important that you mentioned to support local media. I mean, support conservative media like ours. When you see people that are speaking truth, speaking facts, to support them, because it's not much of us. Yes, buy our merch.
Buy our merch.
Store.
Oh, yeah. And this hat, I don't know if we can see it. Let's see. This hat will be on. Where's the camera? It'll be on. It says Spelling 2024. Let's go.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yeah, buy our merch. We certainly appreciate all of your super chats. And that's just one of the super chatters that we read. Yes, the women are crazy.
What he said? Kung Fu CJ.
Yes, says, shaking my head. This is how my mother lost my brothers because of an employee. They are lucky that it is not my child. From talking about the autistic. Social services, the parents losing parental control.
Oh, wow. Where are you?
Kung Fu.
Where are you, Kung Fu?
Something Kung Fu.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's
Put
terrible.
it in the chat, please.
That's crazy.
It really is. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight, guys.
Really?
Yep, that does it for us tonight. Final thoughts. I'll start with you, T. Final thoughts for the audience.
Oh, Lord. Final thoughts. I mean, if you can feel it, you can feel that this is all going down to hell. Like this is, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but I always say we got to, like you just said, get with our own people, get with our own tribe and prepare, because there's strength in numbers. And that's the only way that we're going to defeat all this. Even if they do win this election, we got to find our own tribe and make it work for us.
Absolutely. Shelley, any final thoughts?
Don't let them win. And they will only win if they cheat. If we come out and vote, whatever, mail in person, we have to stop them. We have a country to save.
Literally.
That's it.
Yeah, because we only have one. I mean,
that's it.
I love, the work. I've traveled, across the country. I've traveled outside of the country, I should say. It's nothing like America. Mm-mm. I'm sorry. I mean, there are some beautiful places, out there, but every time I get my passport stamped, when I get back into this country and they say, welcome home, I am as happy as I can be.
Through customs.
Yeah. So, we got one country. We see what's going on in the UK. We got to start standing up, speaking up, and pushing back against these nutty leftists. Whether it's family or friends, push back.
Yeah.
Because we only got one country. And this duo that we have, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Harris and Walz, they're crazy.
Hairs and balls.
Thriller and killer.
They're crazy. I mean, these two are nuts.
She's scary and he's the killer.
Yeah.
He's deadly. And together they are deadly and destructive.
All right. So as our mantra for 2024, be aware and prepare. We are no longer trying to wake the sheep, talk to the sheep. We're trying to wake the lions. Wow. Yes. So be aware and prepare for what is to come. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose.
Trump 2024.
Yes.
Vote for the ballot.